Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back again. We're here for the final game, game number 3 in the BTS EU European Qualifiers. The first phase of action, the semifinals game. It's going to be Friends versus Elements Pro Gaming. I'm Lyrical, joined as well by Tsunami643. All you fine folks out there having a wonderful day wherever you are, and we're going to be watching some great Dota 2. Tsunami, what do you think? How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm curious. I was doing a little bit of research in the between phases of this game, or rather right after I saw the second ban from Dire. Why is Elements constantly banning this Omni Knight, I asked myself, and so I went in, and apparently Friends beat Kai-P yesterday with a Blink Dagger Midas Omni Knight.
Yep, they were running in the off lane. It was a beautiful thing. It was a beautiful, beautiful thing. It was all around a Naga Siren, if I'm not mistaken, as well.
That is correct. In
that game. So again, it sort of harkens back to that thing that I was talking about, creating enough opportunity for your team to have a good start and then not losing all the farm off the back of it as well. And speaking of which, we're actually going to be seeing it. Friends taking it for themselves. The other thing that was kind of interesting, if I remember right about that game, was that they dual laned the Omni with occasional tri-lane action as well. They were pretty much just all up in their face throughout the entire game, and it was pretty frustrating to deal with.
Okay, well then I can respect this ban, because something that odd you really can't prepare for. You'd rather just not have to deal with it altogether. But Friends are no one-trick pony, and they're gonna go for this Naga Siren Shadow Demon, which previously they had gone for the Luna Shadow Demon in game 1. But, I mean, Shadow Demon's clearly a comfort hero for Friends, and as I was saying earlier, I thought that both teams would be opting for comfort drafts on this final game of the series.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, we're going to see the Kunkka let through for the first time. They're actually opting to ban out the Mirana, don't want to have to run up against it, so kind of an interesting one. Also, the ET going to be banned out this time around. The Naga Siren, so this is kind of a question that I got for you. We've obviously seen that Friends do run it as a core role for Yoku. Can you use the song defensively in the same way that you would for a Naga Siren support against the Faceless Void, or is that just not really worth doing?
Against this team, you definitely can. It's just if Naga happens to be in the vicinity of the fight will be the deciding factor, and if she's in the vicinity and not chronoed, because Faceless Void, I imagine that most games Blink Dagger is an obvious purchase, and this game I can definitely see that being a case because of something like a Naga. You really need to nail the positioning, because even though it wouldn't be a support Naga, Song still stops everything, and it just her being, even in TP range of a tower means that you're going to be needing to get amazing positioning with a Chrono if you want to get kills with it.
All right, and ladies and gentlemen, just so you guys know, I don't want to take away too many viewers from the stream, but I want to let you guys know where the other game is going on right now. The BTS North American Qualifiers are about to start up right now, and it's actually going to be Capitalist and Purge over on BTS 2. So if you feel so inclined, Complexity versus NP, I think it's our first look at Complexity post-TI. There might have been a few matches here or there, but yeah, that's going to be going on BTS 2, covered by Cap and Purge, and then afterwards, of course, once this game is over, this stream will naturally just automatically host that stream as well. So if you're interested in that game, that's where it's at. Again, twitch.tv/BeyondTheSummit2 for Cap and Purge covering that game. But for now, we're back in with Elements Pro Gaming. I talked about the Mitch Darkseer. I don't know if I want to hype it up too much, but every time I've seen him play this guy, he just really has an outstanding game, feels like.
Alright, so another comfort hero for them, and obviously the synergy with a Faceless Void and a Kunkka, I can see why they would opt for this pick, and it seems like you're right. They have a pretty solid win rate with Darkseer, almost 70%, which is their actually most played hero, 33 matches on the Seer, so like I suspected, it's comfort all the way around, and Elements Pro Gaming, I'm hoping to see something special come out of Mitch.
Oh my goodness. And the Sand King taken now as well. One of those just 1v1 lane dominators that's so frustrating to deal with. And I think that, I mean, by and large, we've only seen him played in the offlane pretty much nowadays, right? Have you seen any Sand Kings going in the support role at all?
No, I remember when I was first watching some matches, and I was just like, oh, okay, so this is some sort of like tri-lane slash jungle Sand King, because that used to be the trend.
Right.
And then Caustic became a great spell, and he just shot straight to the offlane and was never to be heard from again.
No, absolutely. I think that was like one of the greatest additions to Caustic. I've always liked the spell a lot. It seems really cool as like a farming type of thing, but then when it eventually got changed where it was going to proc no matter if the hero died or not, I was like, this is going to be huge. Why is nobody looking at this? Then suddenly it happened. I was like, yes, I knew it. But anyways, not to gloat about myself too much because I'm an idiot. But Morphling is going to get taken fourth. No ET, few silences, if any at all. This is looking pretty good for Elements.
I am definitely seeing strength coming out of here, but last time we saw the Morphling, it was on Friends, correct?
Yes.
5 seconds
So
remaining.
I'm assuming that this may be almost a denial pick to an extent, because Morphling and Naga, while they
Reserve
both
time.
are relatively farm-intensive heroes, they synergize fairly well, especially because Morphling can just replicate the Naga and
Anti-mage.
just accelerate farm across the board, but
Dire team
Friends
back.
instead opts for an anti-mage. I guess another solid lane pusher to complement the Naga well, and a relatively safe carry, but against a Kunkka, it may be a bit tricky to keep this anti-mage protected.
Well, it's the weird thing
10
now because you've
seconds
got
remaining.
like it's 3 of the latest game carries in the
5
game basically is
seconds
going on.
remaining.
I almost wouldn't mind it if this Morphling like even went back and played support and he took
Reserve
like some
time.
lane pushing hero out of Elements Pro Gaming instead. Because to be honest, like now you look at this draft, you've got Naga Siren and Anti-Mage. What are they going to do early against heavy push? I don't know if that would work or not, but it'd be an interesting look at least.
It would be
Radiant
a
team
bit
back.
too difficult to lane. Right now, Elements basically has like 4 potential offlaners, and they can put them all wherever they want, but they can't put
Radiant
more than
team
2 of them
pick.
in the same lane. And Morphling as a support, I'm a big fan personally, but it's greedy. Even though he does,
Is it more greedy than a Naga Anti-Mage though?
in this particular lineup, I do think so,
10
because
seconds
Sand King is
remaining.
going to be a real menace for whoever he's laning against, and Morphling does
5
not do
seconds
a whole
remaining.
lot of anything against a Sand King. And as a support Morphling, you are pretty much
Reserve
banking on
time.
having a very, very strong carry that you don't need to really babysit them. You go around and you just farm the jungle from pulls 99% of the time. So I'll put it on the table, but I'm not saying it's going to be a likely possibility.
All right, well, we'll see how it ends up going. Last pick now for Friends. Where are they going to go? With still a lot of push going out there. They have a decent amount of deep push with the Sand King, but still need, I'm assuming, that off-lane hero. And Tidehunter doesn't really feel that great either. I don't really know. Puck off-lane? Or they do
Dire
go
team
aggro.
pick.
They could aggro.
Why are you? I thought you just said that Sand King was going to be the offlane.
That's true. I don't know. I'm crazy. I'm losing my mind. What the hell
At
is this
least-
Puck doing then? This is going to be a Naga Siren support.
Oh, that's true.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah. Okay, fine. I'm okay with that, really,
5 seconds
because I mean,
remaining.
like you indicated, Friends is going hyper greed with this whole, I guess,
Reserve time.
first 4 heroes that they picked. I guess Puck being the 5th pick kind of gives some credence to this build or draft, and it also helps counter out this Morphling, as we all know and love silences against this watery man. And Luna going to be the last hero for Elements Pro Gaming, another solid replicate target for this Morphling.
Well, I am liking so far the draft out of Elements Pro Gaming. At least in theory, there's a ton of team fight potential there. I'm curious to see how the Friends draft works out because, by and large, I mean, if this goes to the late game, they should have it. The question is just going to be, can they handle
Prepare
the
for
pressure that's
battle.
coming their direction? It is going to be a LeBron Dota Morphling, so he is going the support route. Elements, Faceless Void mid, Swift Ending playing the Luna with a Mitch Darkseer. All right, we're
I feel
doing
like
it.
both teams were just like playing chicken with each other. They're like, "Oh, we're gonna pick this core hero, but you don't know what we're gonna do with it." And this Elements is like, "Oh, okay, I'll pick a core hero that could be a support also. What are you gonna do about it?" And now I kind of don't like either of their drafts. I feel like both teams, they don't have a solid game plan. They're just like okay, well, our cores can farm. That's a given, like, literally every single match. The mids, like, Puck isn't gonna really be able to do that much ganking, and I don't know who they're planning on sending mid for elements. I am assuming it's the
30 seconds
Faceless
to
Void.
battle.
Yeah, they're running him there again. I think the idea here for elements, at least, is to just try and snowball the LeBron Dota. Great stuff. Snowball off of a lot of kills. What a weird game to end the day with. Friends, it kind of makes sense because you see the Faceless Void in the first phase. Naga's traditionally been just the counter to the Faceless Void with that sleep, but I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes. Afterlife gets caught by a Chrono, and it looks like they're actually going to send Undershock mid on the Puck. Yep.
Yeah, it's the legitimate choice. The question is if they're going to dual lane it, because Faceless Void, much as how we saw the Alchemist last game, it's oftentimes worth putting in an early investment with the support to prevent a Void getting levels, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case.
Yeah, they're both very survivable heroes. I'd be pretty surprised if we end up seeing any rotations really finding kills there, but bottom lane, Mitch Darkseer against the Anti-Mage is classically not able to do much. Feels like a lot of the action's going to be up top.
A lot of actions happening right top. Torrent does not connect, and No Fear's actually gotten Riptide at level 1. So it doesn't seem like there's going to be too much aggression quite yet, but Adaptive Strike at level 1 for LeBron Dota, and I mean, as it is, like I said, Morphling support is greedy. Putting him into a tri-lane is even greedier. He's going to depend on Lunar Blessing for damage, but even then, like, he's a squishy hero when until he gets Morph up, and if you put a lot of points in Morph, then you don't have any armor, and Naga, with an armor debuffing spell and illusions that deal right-click damage, I worry for this Morphling's safety.
And we'll have to see how it goes. I mean, he will have waveform, but these nice little adaptive strikes here and there. I would imagine that at a certain point they can just go, like, cancel out a lot of these clarities and make them pay.
I don't know why he was spamming so many adaptive strikes. He has it's a 100 mana spell. He only has 250 mana, and it doesn't deal that much damage at this level. Right. But he's spamming it out. I guess I don't know. It's a dominance move, perhaps.
Well, you don't have a ton of regen on the side of Friends. Luna has 8 tangos still in her inventory. We've also got a salve and a bunch of tangos with Kunkka, so maybe the idea here is just to try and burn them down as low as possible and force them out of lanes. That to me feels like the best possibility for what they're trying to do, but even still, it's a little bit awkward, and Sand King pretty far forward, doesn't need to be careful. There could be a bit of a wraparound. I'm just going to trade hits with him a little bit.
He's feeling pretty safe until Morphling and Kunkka hit level 2. Right now they're both still level 1, and Milan's taking quite a bit of damage here. Unfortunately, No Fear was not in the vicinity to get that Riptide off.
Mitch over here by his stack, and always want to fly is going to spot him out. This might just be, I don't know if they can find a kill here. He's still got disrupt. He doesn't have disruption. He just has shadow poison. So Mitch punching him in the back of the face. Ion shelled. He has the movement speed advantage by 5, and not going to go for it.
I don't know why he went for that auto attack. I would have liked to bait out the blink from the anti-mage, suck out some farming time, but whatever. No reason to get too aggressive at this stage. He's got his camp. It didn't get blocked out by Shadow Demon. Just take it and be happy.
Back so soon.
Trading blows, 3-minute mark. AM still complete free farm in this bottom lane.
I don't understand this tri-lane from Elements. Like, you can just send another hero down there. Darkseer has basically abandoned the lane for the most part. Always want to fly. Shadow Demon's a fine support, sure, but you can still kind of sit around in trees against an anti-mage and get experience, and that's what I want from this Morphling. He's not offering anything in this tri-lane. He's getting these scraps from the small camp.
No. It's true. It's been a little bit rough. They have the waveform now, and maybe there's a chance that something happens in that way. I'm still trying to figure out also, like, when you start thinking about taking some more points into Morph so you can get the longer duration stun. Steel Sway creep as well. Well, nice little play there comes out from the Morph, but yeah,
he's only going to take 1 point in it, probably at level 3, because right now he doesn't, like, he's an agi hero. He builds more agi naturally, and so, or he gains more agi naturally, and so as a result, he doesn't even have the max stun until he gets it, the Morph.
Alright. Well, 4 minutes into it. We're still very much just a farm fest here. I feel like this is just kind of a bit of an outdraft by Friends, honestly, because if you wanted to run the Morphling into the super late game, Anti-Mage just deals with them so well that they had to switch things up to a certain extent. I don't know. We'll have to see how this goes. This is a rough game. Mitch is still getting a good amount out of this, so that might be some small semblance of hope going back their way, but we'll have to see how the mid game plays out, because that's where probably a lot of this is going to come to fruition.
Well, 4 stacks of Shadow Poison on Mitch. Surges through, misses the 5th stack, and Always Wanna Fly might want to be careful. He's walking into an Ion Shell now. Fairy Fire used. He's going to be okay.
No way to get that kill. Well, LeBron still stuck at level 2. We got Milan as well, who has the 2 points in X. So there is a good bit of damage potential here, with Swift Ending already having level 5, the 3 points in the Lucent Beam. I wouldn't mind them seeing try and make a kill here onto Afterlife or somebody, but they definitely need to make sure they have their full combo as Shadow Demon denies himself to a creep.
Even with the full combo, both these heroes are pretty tanky. Naga has a fair amount of strength, but also has a ton of armor, so Luna's right clicks aren't going to do that much. And Afterlife, he's not even scared enough to get a point in Sandstorm in this lane. He feels perfectly confident. Has 2 points in Burrow Strike. Can probably just survive whatever this Kunkka dishes out, and might actually go on to this Kunkka.
It's a little bit scary. Milan gets the Torrent. Adaptive Strike pushes Afterlife back, and no Burrow Strike comes out. So they'll keep him at bay for the moment. Top lane still a bit of a rough one. Looks like Always Wanna Fly is going to move in to try and secure that rune, but already picked up and back towards mid.
Like, this tri-lane isn't even securing Luna farm. Anti-Mage is out farming this Luna. This Puck is out farming this Luna, and she has, like, a lane enemy. This Luna is not getting defended, and this is what my concern with Morphling support typically is. Kunkka's a melee support, so he's not going to be able to do anything. But Morphling is a Morphling. He's not really geared towards supporting that well. You can toss out some adaptive strikes to burn people down, but now he has no mana. He doesn't even have mana for waveform.
Well, I'm not sure exactly what else they could have done at that draft. Like, I really do think that Anti-Mage is too big of a problem late game for the Morphling to deal with, that, like, it might have just ended up going terribly that way, and they were kind of forced into this awkward position.
I would have honestly been okay with turning Kunkka into a core. You send Kunkka mid, you send Void into the off lane, you send Darkseer to just jungle straight up. And then Morphling can support the Luna, that's fine, because at least then it's a dual lane. In this tri-lane arrangement, the Swift Ending might even die, and LeBron can't do anything. He can't stop it.
It's a hard life right now for a LeBron Dota. Well, currently still 0-0. It's Friends off to definitely a lead, 1,500 net worth and right around 750 experience too. And with the wraparound Kunkka, Milan might have to pop a Torrent here, in some trouble, and they are going to not get the surround with the illusion. So Milan's still barely alive, but they're going to have to force back Afterlife. They're going to dive this. Milan is probably going to die here. They don't have enough mana for another Riptide. He's going to try and possibly make his escape with a TP bot. He didn't end up getting it though, and that's First Blood going the direction of No Fear. Now Dream Coil drop. They're going to be able to find the Burrow Strike afterwards. LeBron brought down. 2 dead in the top lane.
This is what it feels like to be a Morphling support in a tri-lane. He was right-clicking the Sand King the entire time. The Sand King barely even noticed. And there's no stun because it cost too much mana. Nice chrono onto Undershock.
This is still not going to be quite enough. Get it with the wall. It's the play.
That was quite a few bashes though. They got really lucky, but he had a DD rune, so you always go for that play whenever you find it. And nice kill. Gets the turnaround and quite a bit of gold for elements as a result. And I mean, who cares if you use wall at this stage of the game? It's not that important. But it's not Darkseer and Void I'm concerned about. It's Morphling that I'm concerned about.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see how he transitions out of this. Has the Windlace and some boots, and now he's got his stun that's going to start coming online. 2.25 seconds on a 10-second cooldown isn't so bad. And that looks like they're actually going to leave him the lane, potentially, as Swift Ending can move into the jungle as well eventually. So that's one route that this could eventually take, is Well, Mitch, at least for the moment, is taking over the jungle.
Which he needs to. He can't lane against Anti-Mage anymore. It's a good call to send someone down here, though. Kunkka's down, getting whatever's left, and that's all you needed. You just needed one hero present. And, I mean, in addition to the Darkseer being able to rotate in and out. Had they done this earlier on, Elements would have had a much better laning phase, I feel, but at least it's better late than never.
Well, the illusions are getting sent at swift ending now, and potentially part of the problem is that they are going to not really get stopped by anything. The net connects. Level 5, swift ending, dropping low. There's the Riptide running away, and LeBron does have the Eclipse. They're maybe going to turn it back around alive on nothing. Luna, they find the kill for the overextension. I don't think No Fear is going to die here, although they do have another Adaptive Strike in a second. If they can figure out which one is real, they end up finding him. No Fear stunned for a while, and Mitch is going to try and find this kill as well. They have the Ion Shell onto the Faceless Void, bringing him lower. Need a bash. Not going to find it as of yet, and there's the Dream Coil dropped. A second Adaptive Strike. Always Want to Fly is there as well. They break the tether and snap it away. There's going to be a defensive disruption. The wall dropped as well. Trying to find No Fear. Silence onto 3. It's getting a little bit crazy here. The puck is going to be able to escape, but No Fear is finally going to die. Meanwhile, they turn on to Always Want to Fly, trying to find that kill. Bro Strike through is going to be able to kill off the Void, and now Always Want to Fly drops his ultimate onto LeBron, needs to get out of there, able to push him away. The Epicenter not doing enough damage. Mitch, everybody is just so slow in these fights. What is going on?
Okay, as hilarious as that fight is, I'm still not confident that Morphling support made that big of a difference. He dished out a lot more stuns than I was expecting. I thought that he would have had, or I think he did have a raindrop, it just got burned off during that extended gank attempt. I don't even know what you call it. A long tour along top of the river. They get the kill onto the Void, which is important. Definitely much more important than getting the kill on the Naga. So Void, I guess you could call it an overextension by like some stretch of the imagination. They did take a tour of like the entire top half of the map, so sure, why not?
Right. Well, one thing that I am seeing here is Anti-Mage is not going to want to go for a BKB early. So if you end up having basically a roar on a 10-second cooldown, that is one way to find a kill on him eventually. It's not the best in the world, but it's something, and looks like they're actually going to chase him here. They do have another Adaptive Strike available. They drop the Chronosphere, hitting there, and now dropped low is going to die. Waveform forward, Morphling finds the kill. How do you feel now, Tsunami?
Okay, fine, fine. Bot lane, though. Okay, never mind. Fine. All right. I'm skeptical. Continuing. It's cautious optimism.
I would agree. I don't like it a ton either, but you gotta give those moments when they happen.
Yeah, I'll give it. Meanwhile, mid lane, Thundershock getting
oh my god, that's the play. I was telling you. Ian gets the deny. Swag points for Mitch.
Mitch is using his freaking Wall of Replica like it's some sort of single target Q spell. It's not an ult for as far as he's concerned. He's like, oh, okay, I can deal some more damage to you? Sure, why not? I'll use the Wall of Replica.
Oh, 150 damage. It's pretty good. It's not bad at all.
But Yoku only minorly set back from that, opted for a max blink, and like you were saying, he doesn't want to have to build a BKB, but honestly, I think he should. After he completes his Battle Fury, he doesn't really need the Manta.
LeBron again gets away on nothing. That was an Afterlife Epicenter used after the stun. They wanded and then was able to Adaptive Strike him away. Like, literally, Sand King was on top of the Morphling, and the push range for Adaptive Strike was enough, so he didn't take any of that damage. That was so close.
I'm hoping to see some interesting pushes, because earlier on, Morphling was kind of positioning a little awkwardly around the Naga Siren. Oh, X on the Naga.
There's the Torrent pullback, in some trouble. They have the Lucent Beam. Mitch is there. Oh, they don't quite get the vacuum from Mitch, and with that, I think that they're just gonna have to be content with the tier 1 tower, which is going down now.
It is. And so, as I was saying, I think this Morphling definitely respects the capabilities of the pushback. He was trying to push Naga onto a cliff earlier on. It didn't work out, but hopefully now with this max strength up and running, we'll be able to see something like that.
Yeah, he's getting closer and closer. Right now, 3.25 seconds for the stun. It's really quite impressive if you're able to get through the laning stage somewhat unhampered, and granted, it hasn't gone perfectly, but I'm kind of wondering if maybe that they've turned a corner almost with that one failed gank attempt on Swift Ending. That changed things so much.
It did, especially with Mitch's performing as high caliber of a Darkseer as you led me to believe, and he's going to be quite the concern. He has his mechanism finished, so Elements can start 5-manning, even though this Luna doesn't have a whole lot. But the fact that there's so much sustain and all this chip damage that Elements can deal with the glaives, and I guess wall with the way that Mitch uses it, it's kind of difficult to push this back, and Anti-Mage is pretty much the only thing that they can do. It's going to be a Battle Fury completed on him now at 14 minutes. So.
Oh, they break the smoke on Always Want to Fly in Afterlife. I don't think that they realized it, though, and now LeBron Dota, controlled for the moment, is going to need to get out of here. He does manage to make a little bit of an escape, and, well, Kunkka takes down the AM in the bottom lane while all was happening, and now they find a Chronosphere, catches on to Always Want to Fly. He's going to push him almost out of the Chronosphere, but nonetheless, with AM going down and Shadow Demon as well, Elements are well poised to take down this tower here. Again, just the nuking potential of that wall.
That's exactly what it was, especially against an Anti-Mage. He only has 1 point, or I guess now 2 points in mana break, but these wall usages are great, and whenever you can pair it up with something like a Torrent X combo, it's so easy to deal a bunch of burst damage from heroes that you typically don't associate with burst.
Really good stuff. They're taking down that tower. Milan is still a little bit scared as no strike comes through. There's the epicenter again, and oh, they don't have the boat for another 5 seconds. Midge, keeping his buddy alive, comes in with the mech. Now they've got the X on to No Fear, pulling him back in, and well, Afterlife's also going to be here. They find the counterplay onto Milan. He does end up going down. A little bit of Riptide action in the bottom lane, though. Faceless Void took down the puck already. Now turning on to Always Want to Fly. He's in some trouble. They get the Lucid Beam. Right clicks and the waveform through is going to be enough to find a double. Top lane, Mitch just continuing to push this out. Afterlife's going back home, but I don't know if he's going to be able to stop this push that's coming either. This is a really strong timing from Elements.
I would not have expected that a Morphling would have been able to participate this early on as support, but they're getting these amazing picks, and for some reason Friends just isn't choosing to stick as 5. They keep splitting up, and as a result, Elements is much stronger in these staggered, or not full-on 5v5 fights, because Kunkka is just on one end, Morphling is accompanying him, and on the other end you've got this Darkseer who shows up whenever he wants with a mech, and Friends needs to stick together as 5 if they want to survive these kinds of engagements.
What do you think about this Morphling going back for the medallion build? It's kind of an interesting look at things. Not what I would have expected.
Yeah, typically I prefer something like a Aether Lens on support Morphling, but I guess with this medallion, they're taking so many early engagements that they want to keep this pressure going, and
Silence, they drop the Chrono, catches on to Undershock, he's going down! They've got the Eclipse as well. It's not doing a ton to the rest of the heroes, but they found another adaptive strike. Always Want to Fly is stunned forever, but the Torrent follow-up as well. He's slowed down, and they have another one off cooldown in just a second. Can't waveform forward for this, but doesn't want to go for it. The rest of the side of Elements backs out, and they're steadying their sights on this tier 1 tower mid.
I would not have expected that a game with Luna and Void would have been this aggressive early on. Normally, I see pushes happening early on, and I would not have thought that there was going to be these many Chronos and all these random spots on the map, but Radiant team just don't have what it takes, and which surprises me, because like Song is great at, you know, clearing aggression out. Disruption is great at stopping fights, and Anti-Mage has a blink, Puck has a phase shift. All these heroes have ways to not die, but it just never seems to happen.
Well, it's interesting to me because it's really like it's the mixture of the Kunkka and the Morphling that feels really good. Like, you've got an incredibly long range initiation with X marks the spot on Kunkka, and then you follow that up with what, 1.6 seconds of stun on Torrent, and then after that you have 4.25 seconds of stun from the Morphling adaptive strike. So as long as those two are together with anybody that has damage, and again it was partially that Darkseer finding damage earlier, it ends up making a difference. Vacuum over there to the side, Swift Ending is gonna be controlled for the moment, but now they X on Afterlife. Torrent pulling him back in, he's going down. They find the kill, and it was even Luna that picked it up.
Friends is tilting. I'm pretty sure. I would be tilted after how the past few minutes have gone
Dire's
for
bottom
sure.
tower is under attack.
They keep, like, I say it over and over again. I don't know why they're not just hanging out. They don't even need to hang out as 5. It's fine. Let the Anti-Mage do his own thing. But at least hang out as 4. This Sand King went for an epicenter basically by himself. Puck was, you know, vaguely in the area, but not enough to actually commit to the fight. He dropped out a Dream Coil. Wasn't able to do anything after that. Shadow Demon, he's too afraid to even get anywhere close. Every time he shows up to a fight, he gets stunned for 10 minutes.
Yeah, that almost could have been a kill. Milan looking and is within range for a second, but didn't quite react quickly enough, and because of that, not able to find it. But yeah, the triple Ion Shell also is, I mean, that's the other nice thing about the Darkseer pick, is that you can just continually spam out the waves, and it also kind of turns Morphly not into a core necessarily, but into something more than a lackluster support, because if you get an Adaptive Strike and you stand near a hero with a waveform, that's 90 damage per second. So ostensibly with 4 seconds there, you're doing another, what is that going to end up being, 360 damage magical on top of your waveform.
Yeah, and if he ends up going for, I'm assuming the late game plan is to replicate Anti-Mage, you can just put a shell on your illusion, and that's not only going to push out waves like crazy, but that's a ton of damage as well.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Well, Milan,
Radiant structures
level
are
9.
fortified.
He's got himself a boat ready as well. The one thing that they definitely need to be careful about is that eventually Friends are going to start picking up BKBs. Like, it's just bound to happen. Oh god, Milan, this is not where you want to be. Well, okay, he gets his boat off, but that's about it. LeBron Dota walking in bold as brass. Well,
Radiant's middle tower
now
has
they're
been
still
denied.
looking for this. Faceless
Oh,
Void
the
jumps
chrono.
forward. He finds the Anti-Mage. There's the song drop down, and they do still have the stun that's there. It's wearing off shortly. Can Yoko get out? He does manage to blink away. So the song making it work again.
Good, I'm glad. Please, friends, continue being friends with each other and stick together. They were able to get that kill on Kunkka, which, you know, it's not the greatest kill, but it's a kill period, which they haven't gotten for quite a while. It's gonna get a little bit more difficult now that Darkseer has his Blink Dagger completed, because that means that mech regen will come in from afar. But as long as friends, you know, just don't get too separated, I think that they can take most fights, because, like you said, this Naga song is great at stopping stuff like Chrono.
Oh god, scary moments indeed. They're sending in the illusions. They've got the Ion Shell now onto the... Hopefully they jump through. Luna did get the Aegis though, and now Afterlife. There's no way he's out of here. He's going down. So they do pick up the Aegis, get the Roche kill. Mantis Style is there for the Anti-Mage, so he is going to start to become a pretty serious problem. Already up at 11,000 net worth. I'm curious how they try and play the next couple of minutes for Elements. I feel like they have to start really at least threatening high ground.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
They being, I guess... Well, I think Luna can just continue sieging it. I'm not too concerned about this Anti-Mage quite yet. Until I see him start being able to deal damage in team fights, his push can be managed. You make a replica of the Luna, you have all these X strategies with TPs. Oh, stun. Nice.
A little scary. They've got the Torrent follow-up. They do manage to hit onto Always Want to Fly. Undershock's still there, and now they have the X onto him. Pulling him back in is going to be able to connect. He goes down. Really good timing there. Lucent beaming the puck so he couldn't phase shift away from the boat. And now they're set up to go for this. LeBron Dota's back in the midst of everything. They've got Chrono off cooldown in 2 seconds with a Mantis Style complete on the Void. They're taking this tower. And they've got the X marks the spot to be able to keep people alive. They can even send them back to help deal with the Anti-Mage if they want to. This is looking really, really strong right now. And oh, they got the X onto Afterlife now. Sand King controlled. They don't have the damage they need out of him. No anything gets thrown out from that Sand King. And now Vacuum Wall back onto 2 again. It's not on any of the cores, but honestly, at this point, that wall down, I don't know if they can really contest. There's the Dream Coil drop down as well. Oh, there's the Eclipse that comes out. Undershock maybe overstepped his bounds slightly. They get a pretty good Mana Void off. They buy back on the Sand King. He wants to get back into the fray. The stun connects Milan. So he is going to die to that one. So finally, I believe Friends have been able to push back the side of Elements as they end up losing LeBron Dota finally, going down for 311 gold, and that was...
But actually beat them at their own game. Anti-Mage managed to take the tier 3 top, and Void had to come back to stop it, but Void also had Chrono, wasn't able to use it down bot, and as a result, Elements isn't able to take the rest of the fight.
And this is the thing that I'm like slightly worried about. It's just that I feel like it gets to this point where Anti-Mage just, if you don't kill him, he just becomes unstoppable.
I think Luna is, once she gets a little bit more farm, then she'll be able to hang out with fewer supports having to babysit her. Right now the problem is that Anti-Mage has hit his stride sooner than the Luna, and obviously with Blinks, Anti-Mage is much more, you know, inherently safe against gank attempts. But Luna can get tankier than an Anti-Mage, and now she has a BKB, which is the right call, because now someone needs to be dealing with Friends' Anti-Mage, and you don't want it to be any of your cores. You want it to be someone like the Kunkka, or the Darkseer, or the Morphling. You don't want it to be the Luna or the Void.
Oh, Puck. Getting frisky, throws out the orb. Gogi not in position to try and punish that at all. And it looks like they're just going to keep on pushing out the creep waves to the best of their abilities on the side of Friends. And maybe even we'll see Elements start to push down this other lane around the top. You have, as you said, the BKB ready, and imagine that Swift Ending builds into that Manta style next. Just that Mass Illusion spam.
Yeah, I'd say that's the call. I don't know what Morphling is planning to replicate. Like, if you want to go for a push, you might as well just replicate the Luna right now, but it's possible that he wants to use it once they get into a fight on someone like the Anti-Mage.
Right. Yeah. That's definitely the question. But it looks like they're taking tier 2 now also. They push really quick, and we'll see if Friends can hold back this pressure that's coming in. They're cutting the creep wave up top, which is really nice, so they won't have another one coming their way. Undershock makes sure of that, but still, they have the backdoor protection disabled, at least for the moment. And it's starting to feel like they might be able to take down this tower before it ends up coming back up and online. So, nicely done there. They have the replicate, and the illusory orb goes out as well. Backdoor protection back up. They need to back now.
I'll take your tribute.
Or at least wait for the next creep wave, which is going to be a while.
I'm surprised that Anti-Mage didn't play a little bit more aggressively, but I think it's because he didn't have vision of the Kunkka.
Oh,
who
X.
is now Xing Always Want to Fly. Oh man, nerves of steel. Oh man, that was the animation cancel torrent, and everyone's always like, did he do it? Did he actually cast it? But no, he did not. And well played by Always Want to Fly to not disrupt himself.
Well, they go for another creep wave cut here with Afterlife. The problem is they let one by, and oh man, they just take down the tower mid, and well, they ended up blowing the Chrono already. Undershock is here. They might be in a little bit of trouble. They throw out another Lucent Beam. There's the jump forward vacuum wall onto 3. Where's the follow-up, though? It's not there as of yet, and they drop the boat now. Silent Swift Ending. Okay, fine. They now have already popped the sleep. Can they actually do anything here? Sand King is coming down from the north. They look, BKB pop, there's the Eclipse. No Fear in a lot of trouble. He's going to drop Yoku in the meantime. Trying to man up against Mitch, is going to be able to find that kill. And meanwhile, the Burrow Strike onto the Faceless Void. He goes down. Swift Ending trying to survive through this, but it might all be for naught. They've already lost 2 of their cores, and they need to get out of here now. There's the jump forward. Yule Scepter lift up. He's going down. Dead Luna, and soon to be, well, Milan actually does get out.
So that's all the disengage that I was hoping to see all coming together in one fight. So the Chrono was used on Puck solo, but Puck had phase shifted right before the Chrono went down. And if you don't know this, you need to be careful about your turn rate whenever you blink out of a phase shift. If you have to rotate your hero at all, then you can't immediately, I guess, go from a banishment to a blink. There'll be a little period where you're turning. Right. But Puck basically blinked completely horizontal, was able to get out of the Chrono. Then it was kind of an awkward fight. Anti-Mage left, but he was gonna attend the fight, and that's why Naga slept. The wall of replica was blown, and Elements didn't really have very many spells remaining. They had the Eclipse, but Anti-Mage had just completed his BKB, walked face first into that Eclipse, no worries whatsoever, and just got the kills on everyone.
Well, this is certainly shaping up to be one of those games where it starts to become a bit of a farm war. You got a mechanism on Naga Siren now as well, and is looking like it's going to be Guardian Greaves coming out to her. So another little nice answer to that Chronosphere, just making everybody that much tankier. And with the BKBs coming online, I'm worried about the Morphling's ability to actually be effective in these team fights. He has to hit his stun onto somebody, because otherwise you're basically just walking around doing nothing. So a rough life indeed.
Yeah, this is always the concern that I have, because it's Morphling is kind of Morphling support is most powerful in the mid game, because that's when people don't have things like Blink Daggers to disjoint the Adaptive Strike. They don't have stuff like Lincolns to just absorb it. They don't have stuff like BKBs to just ignore it. He was able to create a lot of space in the mid game, but now all friends have the items that they need to deal with the Morphling support. Sand King has Yule's Blink Dagger and Sandstorm. Puck has Phase Shift, Yule's Blink Dagger. Anti-Mage has Blink BKB.
Always want to fight. I think he does go down here in the mid lane, though.
Yes, he does. So he does have his disruption, assuming that he's not going to get killed by the other 4 heroes. And lastly, Naga has Sleep and also Mirror Image to disjoint, so it's going to be tough for this Morphling to find openings.
We'll have to see how they can make it work. And it's maybe one of the reasons why he ended up going back for this Blink Dagger now, too. Catching somebody off guard with a Blink in Adaptive Strike, and, well, Afterlife is still over there in the woods. Isn't going to get spotted that early. But this is part of the reason why I was also thinking that, like, eventually you need to start going for, like, a high ground push earlier than you would otherwise against that Anti-Mage. But maybe just a bit too afraid of missing that opportunity and then losing the game off the back of one failed push. Blink Dagger soon to come up. I feel like there's still another timing here that Elements can hit before Anti-Mage just becomes too unbearable.
It is. They have a lot of room to grow. I mean, Morphling can obviously technically become a core. Kunk can technically become a core. Darkseer, he has mostly defensive items. The Blink Dagger is the first offensive one. Something like a Sheepstick will be invaluable because he already has his Blink Dagger. But Anti-Mage responds by completing a full Abyssal Blade.
And that's actually going to be the Darkseer going back for the Hood of Defiance. So another way to, make him a little bit tankier in the midst of this, but Afterlife still set up and ready to go if they wanted to try and take this fight against Swift-Ending. They are not going to go for it. This was something that we've seen a lot recently, is just that position 3 player, wherever he happens to be hiding in the trees, to go for either a kill or pushing out the creep wave.
Had he had something like a Aghanim Scepter, he would have definitely gone for these kills, but right now he's just keeping tabs, wants to make sure that this Luna is
under attack.
not getting a bunch of farm underneath the eyes of friends, and he's getting quite a bit of farm himself. Sand King now has 2.1k gold. I wouldn't mind seeing something like an Ag, which is, I'm assuming, why Darkseer is going for something like a Pipe, and Conquer gets the kill on Shadow Demon.
There's the Blink reveal.
You're but a shadow
I love the little voice lines as well. That's great. Oh my god, Swift-Ending! Well, LeBron Dota, they get the stun. Yoku is not doing things for a little while, but Swift-Ending doesn't have any mana for anything, and starting to drop low. The boat comes in. All right, counterplay is there, slowing down the push. Afterlife runs into the Luna, almost ends up going down, but the right click did not connect, and so he does blink away.
That was a very textbook example of why BKB duration matters. She was out of mana, Luna that is, for quite a while, but Anti-Mage can't mana void, and that every second counted on Luna's BKB there, and they're gonna go for this Roche, but this is a tricky Roche. Anti-Mage has left, so it's a little bit safer, but you don't really have very good vision of the Radiant heroes if you're dying right now.
Yule Scepter lift up, Afterlife trying to run away. They do have the X, that's still Silent Kunkka though. And now with the Faceless Void in the area, phase shift in and trying to blink away. They're still taking this. Chronosphere does connect. Undershock taking a lot of damage. Boat goes out as well. That is going to be a dead puck. Afterlife able to burrow strike away. Meanwhile, in the midst of the pit, they're taking down Swift-Ending, and top lane is also getting taken by the Anti-Mage. Swift-Ending having to run away from this. Her own illusions hitting her pretty freaking hard, and it looks like AM, after taking down at least the tier 3 tower, is going to back out. So a pretty interesting start so far. They don't get the Torrent off from Milan. He is going to try and TP out. The net breaks the TP, and now he does die. Guardian Greaves not nearly going to be enough to keep him alive. The lift up from the Yule Scepter after the surge. That's purged off. Oh, you're in some trouble now, Mitch. He's getting chased. The vacuum wall gets dropped in return, and They're going to have some Darkseer illusions, but nobody's going to get here quickly enough. Just trying to do whatever he can to keep them off of the towers, and, well, this is looking pretty good as AM takes the Aegis. Lordy, lordy, that went about as bad as it could for Elements.
That was such good usage of resources from Friends. Anti-Mage, a lot of times, like, you have that thought in the back of your mind, like, do I need to show up to this fight? Because he can get there relatively quickly with a max blink, but opted to go for the Raxes. Morphling had to come back, and, I mean, sure, it's great that your Morphling has, like, a 4.25 second stun, but if it's just Morphling and maybe an Anti-Mage Replicate, that's not going to scare an AM off from taking your Raxes. Every single time, someone else has to come, and some other core has to come to stop this AM, and once the core goes, the rest of Friends goes in on the fight, and got the Aegis right from what was Elements, his original Roche attempt, and just really well played from Friends.
That really hurts them. Again, you do have like little bits and pieces here that can maybe try and save out the day a little bit, but with the BKB on Anti-Mage now on top of Abyssal and just how maneuverable this guy is, I'm struggling to see how they move for like taking tier 3s without just losing their entire base. It almost feels like at this point they're going to need to eventually go for an all-in push if that's even going to be allowed.
I agree, and I also agree with the caveat that it might not be allowed because Anti-Mage is massive, and his BKB, despite him getting it very early on in this game, is still 8 seconds long, so even if he does want to show up to a fight and doesn't want to just mindlessly split push, he's still a terrifying force in a fight like that.
I mean, again, Anti-Mage is probably, in the super late game, not as scary of a hero as like a Luna could be if she's fully stacked up and it's just like a one-on-one engagement. But I think with the rest of the lineup of Friends, they scale so well, and I mean, Shadow Demon Illusions potentially coming out, and we've seen just how far behind this Luna has fallen compared to the Anti-Mage. Just by nature of the heroes, it's a hard one right now for Elements.
Yeah, because even if this Luna, like, Anti-Mage is effectively one item ahead of this Luna, because he's going to be going for evasion on this Anti-Mage next item, almost definitely. And Luna is probably going to have to complete her Satanic, if anything else.
Oh, Dream Coil dropped. They do end up sort of losing that one accidentally. They actually also Abyssal Blade Malusion. A couple of misplays coming out from Friends, but they find the Kunkka in the end.
It's only a minor inconvenience, because they still have so much power left in the bank that, I mean, Luna's trying to push out top lane. Even if she manages to breach high ground, I'm pretty sure Friends are perfectly okay with letting her do some damage to the high ground, but Anti-Mage comes, stops it, and Luna immediately has to leave.
Yeah, it's a rough one. Rough. Well, this is now a question of, do they catch the Anti-Mage? And it doesn't really feel like that's going to be super possible. And even if they do catch him, how do they kill him? Is it just all around the next Roshan pick for Elements? Is that really the way that they have to play it from now on out?
They're not going to be able to stall for that. Anti-Mage is going to start pushing as soon as this Aegis duration starts timing down on him, which should be basically in the next minute or so. It looks like Friends just got a quick trip to the fountain. Every one of their heroes is topped off. It's time for high ground. It's time for the second high ground.
See if potentially Elements can hold the high ground. They've got a lot of outspam. We've got our Kunkka boat on the relatively low cooldown, as well as the X shenanigans that are always great to see. Now moving in towards mid though, looks like it might be time to smoke up. And who do they find in the jungle? The mighty jungle. Luna might get eaten up. Void is actually the first one on the docket. No fear, they break the smoke. They might just song for this. Do they spot him out? There's the burrow strike through, and now in a lot of trouble. There's the Abyssal Blade. He's super gone. They get the silence onto Mitch after the Greaves. Oh god, this could go really badly. He does pop the pipe, vacuum wall back into them, but he's gonna end up going down. Now Faceless Void buys back into the game. The boat does connect as well, and maybe, just maybe, they can make this happen, creating some Shadow Demon illusions, and that is going to keep Yoku alive. There was a moment there where I thought they could go for a Chronosphere, but unless they catch everybody else, I mean, there's still Naga Song.
Exactly. That was such great positioning. And hell, they can even just take the fight. Afterlife, despite using Epicenter like a madman early in the game, has been very judicious about his usage for the past few minutes, and he's been sitting on his Epicenter, so he can just go face first into a Chronosphere and not care. And even if they manage to catch out a lot of the heroes of Friends with the Chronosphere, Anti-Mage is still really tanky, and Void does not have the most damage. He has a Manta style and a Vlad's. And Morphling, he does not deal damage because he's a support. Naga, yeah, she has a Dragon Lance, but she's still pretty short range. You need to make sure that Aang gets caught on the edge of the Chronosphere, otherwise even the Luna's not going to be able to damage him.
We'll see what Luna ends up going for, too, in this game. Like, has 5,600 gold saved up, and obviously you want to save for buyback, but it also feels like you need to have something in the tank for when this battle eventually does come. Just holding it off as much as possible, but 10,000 net worth behind. There's no reason to put yourself a further 5,000 behind that.
Dire's middle tower is under
It's
attack.
possible that she's waiting to see what Anti-Mage has if she wants to go for the BKB or the MKB or the Satanic. She can see now that he has a Butterfly completed, even with an MKB though. I'm concerned.
Hard life. This is looking pretty scary, and the towers are just falling to the illusion spam just like that. They don't have any way to stop it, and what a rough one it is indeed. This is going to be for her the, well, looks like the butterfly route.
I don't really agree with that. I don't think Evasion's going to do a heck of a lot.
I mean, it's still more damage than you would get out of like an MKB with the illusions, at least.
It's true, but who cares about damage when your towers are getting killed by a bunch of illusions?
Right. No, it's true. There's no perfect answer is the problem. When you're 10,000 net worth behind, it's just, the game is hard.
They're going for a smoke. Could be amazing, or it could be utterly irrelevant because Friends is just so far ahead.
They find Afterlife. Looking for him. Mitch Dota jumps forward. Can he find the initiation angle? It doesn't look like it. They have found Yoku, and well, Milan, X marks the spot onto him. They've been able to get the Shadow Demon Illusion onto Mitch. Oh, Kunkka's gone. No way, shape, or form they're getting out of that one. Swift Ending forced to run away. They do buy back now on the Kunkka, but oh man, there's the Dark Seer going down. 75 gold away from buyback, and Sandstorming away the Adaptive Strike. They jump forward, find LeBron Dota. They get the Chronosphere, but not in range. Swift Ending, can they find it? Well, both connect. That's still a nice little stun there, but they're going to be on top of this Luna right at the start of it. Pops the BKB, and it's going to also go for the Eclipse. A lot of creeps in the area. Turns now. Yoku trying to bring down this Luna and is desperately just going to be able to find that kill. Pops her at the end as well. GG gets called, and Elements, after taking a good one at the start, get taken down by Friends, and that means they are out of the Summit 6 qualifiers for Europe.
Looks like support Naga against Void Chronosphere is better than support Morphling against an Anti-Mage Blink. Both teams got kind of drafted into corners, but Friends was able to do a little bit more in their corner than Elements was.
Yeah, it's a rough one. There was moments in here you can see on the graph that it felt like possibly they were going to be in a decent position, but at the end of the day, it just was not enough, and Friends are your winners. So coming up really shortly, within tomorrow actually, is going to be the next game. It's going to be the winner of Fantastic Five versus Vega Squadron to see who moves on into Phase 2 of the BTS Summit 6 qualifiers for the EU region. Coming down to the wire here, at least for Phase 1. And it was really great cast with you, Tsunami. Everybody give him a follow at Tsunami643. If you want to follow me too, it's at Lyrical Dota. But any final thoughts on this series before we finish off for today?
There were a set of longer games than I've been seeing, well, at least me personally casting, and so that was an interesting change of pace because everything we've done so far has been like 25-minute blowouts, so it's not often that you would have seen European Dota be the most time-intensive one, but it was fun nonetheless.
Absolutely. Well, and I can't wait to watch some more coming up in the next couple of days. For anybody out there that's wondering, what should I watch now? NP versus Complexity is being casted currently on Beyond the Summit 2 by Capitalist and Purge, so feel free to hop over to that one if you would like to check out some good old NA Dota. Always great to watch that. And I think that's going to do it for us. Tomorrow, same time, same place for some more European games. And also, I think that there's some Southeast Asian and China ones that are happening after the North American Dota games as well. So stay tuned. Follow Beyond the Summit Twitter for any new updates. And, of course, keep on following the Summit 6. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you guys next time.